to another edition of Telescope Man. Today we're at the ATM SIG meeting at the largest telescope making factory in Wiley, Texas. Tom knows shop. You can see he's finishing up some very nice telescopes right over here. He hadn't completed all of his scopes yet. Got 5 or 6 more to go, and that's it. So Ken Clayton's going to show us how to make a tool that's used to grind mirrors today. So he's got his table set up, and in a minute we're going to watch him do this. Anyway, this is some of the crew at the ATM SIG meeting today. It's a November meeting, 2012.
Today I'm going to demonstrate how to make a tool for grinding mirrors out of porcelain tile and dental plaster. And this was my first attempt right here. Okay. There were a couple of problems with this first attempt. One is that I didn't clear the channels very well in between the tiles. And I'll show you, I'll show you how to combat that problem. Well, the first step is awareness. The tiles themselves are porcelain. Okay, this is a set of porcelain tiles I had cut out for a 6-inch tool. Okay. And porcelain's kind of an interesting subject. A lot of misinformation out there about porcelain. Everybody has their own interpretations of numbers and whatnot. I'll try to clarify that for you. This particular porcelain tile is an unglazed tile. You'll notice the back looks pretty much just like the front. Okay, there's no glaze that's been put on top of it. Mostly what you find in like Home Depot or Lowe's are glazed tiles. Now, there's something called a PEI rating. PEI stands for Porcelain Enamel Institute. Believe it or not, there's a company out there that measures the hardness of the glaze. The important thing to remember about a PEI rating is that it's about the glaze. It's not about what's underneath. And you need to remember that you're gonna be grinding that glaze off in short order. It's what's underneath that matters to you. Now, PEI ratings go from 1 to 5. Okay, 1 is very light duty. Okay. It's for use on walls. 2 and 3 kind of has a bit more durability, maybe for use on home floors. And 4 and 5 is a durability rating for basically floors that are being used a lot.
You're still talking about the glaze?
Yep, we're still talking about the glaze. You may as well know what it is since it's out there. Okay. Now, this can sometimes give you an indication of what you hope is underneath. Okay? A PEI rating of 5 or 4 will hopefully indicate to you that it's a better quality tool underneath, or it's a better quality porcelain underneath. It's not guaranteed, but it may be. Your probability may be up.
You ever worked with these?
Yeah.
What do you think of these?
Well, they're fine. I'll tell you a little bit about them in a moment. Well, it's not the glaze that's causing you trouble. It's understanding that it doesn't necessarily indicate to you what's underneath.
The density, right? The
Yeah, but if you get the underneath part that you want, and it doesn't have any glaze on it, then glaze is a non-issue.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah, but a lot of times you're stuck trying to interpret what they're showing to you on the website.
What's special about these hexagons?
Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. And one thing to do, if you're lucky enough to have the tiles in hand, one thing to do is to take some steel, rub it against the back and the front. Okay, and that kind of shows you that the steel is rubbing off on it. So it's fairly hard. That's a Mo rating of about 6.5. Okay, it's pretty hard stuff, and that's about what you want. Where's those hexagon?
There's some more right here.
These are a tile that Wilman Bell sells. Okay, these little hexagons.
These are the professional tiles. Supposedly, I don't know that they are though.
So this is the servitol?
Yeah.
Like these are supposedly made for mirror grinding?
Yes, these are most.
bathrooms?
These are.
And
these
to
are
me,
made
I
for it,
don't
yeah.
know, I'm getting kind of the
Yeah.
same sort of scratch pattern, which to me kind of indicates that these are, well, actually, they're similar in hardness.
Yeah.
Okay, they're similar in hardness. I don't.
They scratch them against each other.
Now, the thing about a hexagon tool is you're going to find that it's much more difficult to clear the dental stone channels.
Yes, I found that to be true.
Yes.
That they're very difficult to clean.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
If you could get them, wouldn't you want wider channels than this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's an advantage of the hexagon. You can put them at any spacing you like.
Yeah.
A 1/4 inch or so is actually what I read is preferred.
Random might be even better, right? I don't know.
Some people like
Plus or
that.
minus a little
I
bit,
have
right?
seen it before.
Yeah.
The hexagonal
I've had random
pieces
anyway.
are slightly harder than, I don't know how much harder, but slightly harder than the other.
Okay. Okay.
Well, the impression I got on these was that they might have fewer inconsistencies in the material itself, so you might be less likely to scratch your glass when you go down to the finer grit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Because you take it, you use
Another-
this right up to the cerium oxide, right?
I like these. They feel good. They seem. They just feel better. They really. They feel better. This looks too much like I've seen the Home Depot.
The other thing you can do is look under, look in the edges. It looks pretty similar to the surface. Okay. Now, you go to Home Depot and you don't find these, From what I can tell, you'll find them occasionally in stuff that they want to sell out. They can't get rid of something somewhere somebody bought it and then they bring it on a special deal. Sometimes you can see that happening, but it's really kind of hit and miss, which is another kind of advantage of these. You've got a source and you can configure it any way you like. Any questions about porcelain tile? I'm sure there was something that I didn't cover.
Those are very thin. The hexagon ones are thin. Some of the tiles are thicker.
Yeah.
And if you're grinding a mirror, and you're going to use one tool for the entire operation, if at some point you wind up with the tiles getting so thin that they wear through, what do you have to do? Did somebody know the answer to that? Tom knows the answer.
Sure, I know that.
You got to
Careful where
retile
you
it.
start.
Be careful
You
when
got
you
to have your
start.
mounting surface enough so you don't run into that.
Well, you have to start over again.
Well,
Here's what you have to do. And so,
You can use epoxy new tiles right on top of the old.
yeah, but you're still going to have a little bit of variation. So you're probably going to have to go back a little bit. But
Yeah, you're gonna have to back up.
You're gonna have to
a-
back
to
up
a higher grit,
a little bit.
or to a
Yeah.
rougher grit,
Yeah.
and seat the new tiles.
Yeah.
in.
Seat the new tiles in.
That
So they gotta be
thickness of
worn in.
epoxy and the new one on, that gives you a Fresnel lens. I tried it.
Seriously.
Well, one thing that I was
You know what to
thinking
do,
about
you know.
doing was, especially since the tool that I'm going to make today is going to be used for hogging out a 12.5-inch mirror, was one of the things I thought of was just taking these individual tiles and epoxy another one on top of it,
And use two.
and then
Yeah.
put it in the mount it into the dental stone.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Because once you lose a tile, out of your tool, really you don't want to put another one, replace it with another one.
No, you
Because
don't.
it's just sticking up and it's going to plow a trough through your mirror.
That's exactly
And I must admit, after starting, I've started both ways, and after starting with a pre-generated curve, I don't think I'll ever go back.
Right.
Yeah.
It just saves you so much work,
Oh, yeah.
So,
But
what about I saw something the other day about using a ring tool.
Yeah,
For
you
hogging
you
out.
can make a ring tool, and on thickness,
I just didn't know how well that was controllable, or do you have to
Yeah.
have to really know what the heck you're doing if you're going to use a ring tool, or?
talking about thickness for a moment. Okay, the ceramic tool and the porcelain tile that I passed around, that's about 220 mils, or thousandths of an inch. This is about this glass that I bought is about 330. Okay, so I picked this simply because it was thicker than everything else. Okay, and I only expect it to be used for hogging. I don't expect that we'll be able to use it for the finer grits.
How come?
So I think it's all going to be worn away.
So, you think it'll go faster than the tile because it's glass and not ceramic?
Well, I just think hogging up 12.5-inch mirror is it's a lot.
It's a
lot.
Okay. And if it shows that it's not going to last, that's okay, because you can make another tool that will be able to conform to the curve that you've generated,
Yeah.
and will take you all the way through the fine grinding.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you brought up ring tool. Okay. There's different variations on that. Some people will take some steel cans of various diameters and kind of put them concentric around the mirror. Okay. And the idea is that the steel edges is where the grinding is happening. Another is to just take a pipe flange or a pipe cap and use that. Yeah.
I've actually got one of those. I'll go.
Okay. You don't even need dental stone
So
for it.
you'd need like a 12-inch pipe cap, right? I mean,
No,
you
no.
need something pretty big.
It's you're using it as a sub-diameter tool. Okay. Now the deal on sub-diameter tools to remember is that the smaller the tool with reference to the mirror, the more likelihood you have of getting into trouble. Okay. The scenario of getting into the least amount of trouble is, equal sizes. Okay. But
But
something.
isn't that the way you roll the egg? Or am I confused?
Well, you can.
You cut a trough or
on
something.
top.
Depends
Oh,
on whether,
okay.
kind of depends on whether you're working tool on top or mirror on top.
Okay.
Yeah. But something that's for hogging out, you could probably get away with something maybe half the size, 12.5, maybe 6 inches, maybe 4 inches. I mean, you're just hogging stuff out.
And you're getting rid of the most material nearest the center of the river.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Right.
And then work your way out. And then you minimize the uneven wear on your tool.
Yeah. So, I've never tried it myself, and but it's probably worth trying if you're interested in hogging out mirrors. You've already heard my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way,
It's
you
a
know
pain.
how Steve Swayze hogs out mirrors?
Huh?
4-inch grinder with a tile cutting tool.
Oh, yeah. Does he, he's got one of those things where
He's got a turntable with a cofferdam around it. He gets that mirror, he gets the glass spinning and with his hand grinder.
Yeah.
Wow. Here's an.
The thing to watch out for though with stuff like that is you're also generating a lot of dust. And you don't want to be inhaling that.
Well, that's why, for example, Zambudo keeps it wet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
Yep.
You got to keep it flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing when I was cutting quartz. You got to keep it flooded.
Yeah.
Oh, incidentally, have you had experience with ceramic tiles as opposed to porcelain tiles? Any difference?
No, I haven't.
I'm curious
Haven't had that
as to which one
experience.
might actually be better than the other.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's a good question. Okay, now we're going to be embedding these tiles into some dental stone. And here I have the dental stone in 4 pounds of dental stone in a bag. Okay, it's fine like flour. But you need to take a moment to get to know what your material is. So what I'm going to do,
Hey, these over here. Clear out
what we need to do, this is what's called just dental lab stone. Comes from a company in Texas called Gresco. I'll send out, if you put all your email addresses, you know, on our list, I'll send out the information about it. Okay, using my Weight Watchers scale, that's about 2.5 ounces. Okay, and the recommended proportion is about by weight is about 1/3 water for well, let's put it this way: 1 part water to 3 parts
By weight.
cement. By weight.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to. I need somebody to help also. Let's see. What's his name?
Jack. Come here, buddy.
Come on over. What I need you to do is, you need to get the stopwatch going by pushing this button. Just push it once. Look like it's going?
It's going.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna put a little less than 1 ounce in there. And let's try mixing it up. And this is actually a pretty wet mixture, so I'm going to send some more. So I don't think I want to use the amount that they recommended.
I've just never worked for me, not once.
Yeah.
Using what they tell you to.
Just the consistency is the only thing I've ever been able to make work, like mixing a powder and a liquid.
Not very accurate.
It's like a chef. You never follow a
You
recipe.
always have to tweak it.
Yep.
Still more.
Again, still more. See, this is another thing. This kind of gets you, thinking about, oh, well, I don't need to add so much water. So that's why it's a good thing to try this ahead of time.
Yeah. Figure out the right recipe.
Yeah. And, I don't mind that it's taking extra time doing this because it's going to save me a lot of extra time later. Thank you. One of the most necessary things to have around you is a bucket full of warm water. I make it warm because then you won't freeze your hands. I use cold water for mixing with stuff because I don't really want to speed up the chemical reaction process.
What kind of time frame are you talking about for it setting up to be ready to use?
Well,
Hours or?
the last time I did it wasn't with this product, but I'm talking about less than 15 minutes.
Oh,
It went really fast.
yeah.
Does it get warm?
Yeah,
Generate
Yeah.
heat? Okay.
yeah.
But now this is the stuff that's waterproof after it's cured, right?
Hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
the stuff that I used before, it was. It was. This is a new product for me. And actually, we're going to use this sample to determine the...
We want to keep using it?
Yeah. Okay, who wants to hold it? Take a poke at it every once in a while to kind of gauge its consistency.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, well that's happening.
So does it slow its setup down when as much as I stir it? Does it kind of disturb it enough to where it doesn't want to set?
Actually, no. It'll set.
Okay.
It'll just be rougher and
You're just gonna stir it slower and slower. That's
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Really, what you
can't
need
get
to
the
do is
stick
just
out anymore.
kind of leave it alone and then poke it every once in a while.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start setting things up for the mirror.
So do you know how much to add?
Yeah.
Just
Not
keep
nearly
adding?
as much as I thought.
Just keep adding until it's right.
Yep, that's right.
So that's the consistency you're wanting to look for? Something
That's
like
a little
this?
thin.
Still? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little thin still.
Okay.
I like pancake batter consistency.
Okay.
It's almost you almost got some lumps in it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I brought one of my 8-inch mirrors. One side is flat, the other is curved. And of course, it's pretty easy to tell which one's curved. So you can put something on top of it and you can push down on it. Whereas if it's flat, well, you can tell the cement's getting all over tends to spread. Okay, that's flat. Now I'm going to apply my secret release agent. Yep, here it is. My secret release agent today is Plaid Press and Seal.
That's good stuff.
You can use either saran wrap or for hogging out. You can probably even use aluminum foil. You know, but you just want something to make it easy to release the.
I like the idea of the press and seal. The other stuff might move around on you. This stuff kind of
Yeah, it behaves. It behaves better. It's easier to work with.
Yeah.
You do kind of have to try to. Sometimes it helps to just put a little bit of moisture down there.
Did you flip that over, or you wanting to take it off the flat side?
I want it on the flat side
Okay.
because I'm making a blank for somebody
Okay.
who is just starting to hog out a flat. You know, they're starting off with a flat surface.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you would
Yeah.
be making it off of the curve.
No, I thought about that, but it seems to me that if you put a
But you'd want it the
strong curve on
other,
it,
the other direction.
you're just going to get it kind of rocking around.
And
And
wear out
maybe
the
you
middle
could
ones, too.
you could work with that, but I think if you're starting off with flat, you may as well start off with flat.
Areas and stuff.
So we need to mark around on the tiles.
Yeah, just want to mark the tiles around. Now,
That up at Carl's place?
It'll go in the water after the first 1 to 2 weeks up there this summer.
Hey Jack,
I almost got it in the water, but didn't
bring
quite.
us a rock over here. We can
now
stick
normally
in there.
you'd want to be careful so
Just any of
that
your rocks.
the idea is that a symmetric tile pattern is more likely to do
Wear a pattern.
wear a
do a
pattern into
transfer,
your
yeah.
mirror than non-symmetric.
Okay.
We want this to be as random as possible.
Slight offset makes a world of difference.
Thing.
I love how this process is so imprecise, but
I
you
know.
can make the most precise.
I know.
Surface
When I
on the
did my
planet.
first 6-inch mirror in college, I just freaked out.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
just an awesome
yeah.
feeling. Awesome feeling. And the first image in that mirror just really, really nailed me.
Okay. Now because this is a hogging tool, I'm not really going to be all that upset if
He's missing a few.
I'm missing a few. So you have some of these lines that go through. I would have to nibble off, this tile here, that tile there. I'm just going to go in and
Just cut the corners off.
Cut the corners off.
Okay.
Basically cut off anything that has a line on it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, that's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah, if you didn't hear what he said, basically cut off any tile that has a line going along it. And I actually, you'll notice I initially moved the tiles so that the tiles on this side weren't hanging off. You know, they were in a little bit. So I spent a lot of time making my first telescope mirror, making it more complicated than it needed to be.
Right.
So
Me too.
I'm learning.
And still the time invested in mine went the other way. It was like 6 weeks for a 6-inch. It was like 3 months for an 8-inch. It was like 17 years for a 12.5 inch. So that's when I decided to buy my mirrors from Carl.
What time's your clock say, Jack?
Well, you just look at it as your experience grinding the mirrors has made you a better consumer. Okay, let's go ahead and we can pass that around. And let's go ahead and put the mirror down. Let's see if our simplicity has paid off. Yeah.
I have to cut some more on mine.
And he's
Boy,
making.
that's a tool that would last a while.
Yeah, he said that tool, even working quartz with that, the tool would last through 5 or 6 mirrors.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
What
great.
did he put on? I'm sorry.
There
Quartz.
were quartz rods. That
Oh,
were,
yeah,
about
okay.
inch and a quarter, I think.
Those are significantly harder than the
Yeah.
borosilicate
Yeah,
glass.
Oh yeah.
That'll last a while.
Well, no, he wasn't grinding borosilicate. He was grinding quartz glass.
Oh, well, you need something hard then.
So what about, I read something where somebody was using metal washers too,
Yeah,
instead of tiles.
Yep.
you can do that too, yeah.
I've heard people use cast iron.
So, I think I'm going to do a little bit of cutting.
You want
Hang on, we might have something here.
tape around it, or?
I've got tape. Oh, did I say that this is actually a 3-man process? And you'll see where the time constraints are.
Or if you account for the young boy keeping time.
Yeah.
It's not so much a 3-man process. It's just it involves every astronomer present, really.
Is the timer going? Okay. What time are we up to, Jack? What's it say? You can read it.
We're only interested in the first 2 numbers, first 2 digits.
What's it say, Jack?
So they're making a little dam now so that when they pour that dental stuff in there, it'll form like a, it'll hold it back so it won't run over the edge.
I bought the wrong stuff.
Watch out, man.
That's probably thick enough there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got 3 of the task members that are mixing up this dental compound, and they're going to proceed to pour it into the tool that they've made there and the little dam that they constructed with the duct tape. All right, I'm ready.
And my helpful assistants have mixed up the dental stone. Go ahead and pour it on him.
Which kind can I use?
Nothing.
Let's pour a little more in. You can come
Are
over
we gonna eat this after it's done?
Yeah, look at the big
Thank you.
Good to go.
We're gonna eat this when it's done, Tom. Gonna put it in the oven. You got some icing?
What do you mean? This is the icing.
All right, Ken.
Oh, that's looking better.
I guess I should have asked. Should I level it out?
I guess, don't you wish you had this when you were a kid and you could
Probably
just
works
play with it?
out of it too.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to do.
I have Play-Doh.
Now, a good thing to do is with a stick or something, if you're really worried about time, go through and just poke around, make sure the glass tiles haven't floated up at all. So, but you've been doing that with your stick, so. All right.
A little bit more here.
I think we're ready.
So Ken, now the next step would be to wait 30 minutes till it
Yeah.
dries, right?
We're going to pour just a little bit more in until it's at the top of our dam.
I guess we need to also say this is the back side of the tool.
Yeah.
For the folks that don't know, this is the bottom of the tool. It's going to be flipped over.
Yeah. And I'm still thinking having a little tile at 3 points around the perimeter would be nice because it's going to be stable. You put it on a surface and it has to be flat.
Let's try that. I'm going to.
I'll bet I could grind the bottom.
So if you'll remember, he put a piece of plastic between the glass blank and the ceramic tiles. That way he can separate this tool from the glass blank. It won't stick to it.
Shims or something.
And then it'll be flipped over and actually used as a tool to grind a mirror.
Okay, yeah, let's.
Let me
That'll hold. That's
No,
3 points.
not quite. Bring it over here and.
let me cut this into pieces.
Thanks. Did I mention this is heavy?
It looks like it probably would be.
Good job.
That's all we have.
And,
What time is it, Jay? Oh, we need to start time over, don't we? Or not?
No.
Guess not.
And there's a 3.
Your suggestion about putting 3 on top.
Is that done?
Yeah.
No.
What? Can you tell us what the
It
suggestion is?
becomes a Dobsonian and azimuth mount.
Mhm.
3 points. Euclid and Dobson, and you
making
got.
it?
It doesn't have to be a plane.
Okay,
Makes
so
it plane.
you're saying put
It's
3 points
Right. And then
along
you set it
there,
on the surface.
so
the
that.
surface is flattened.
I think I
Well,
read on the
we're going
internet
to come
the other
back
day
in
that
about a
Euclid
half
said when
hour
you're
and
grinding
see
a
what it's
telescope mirror,
see what it's looking
you
like.
need to be.
Thing is,
Ready to feel already.
we've one difference that I've noticed between this and this is we got this film of water on top. So the top is not quite as good an indicator of the doneness as we might hope, but so basically do that. And let's see if I'm just kind of testing the sides.
Hard. Give to it. Look at that.
There it is.
Success.
There's our,
Mold release works pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we got. So now, what I'm going to do, this is probably the messiest part of all.
Dad, you got.
And this is still soft enough for you to
Yeah.
brush the channels in.
Dale.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
1 minute.
it's cutting down in there pretty good.
1 hour, 16 minutes.
1 hour, 16 minutes.
But if you waited another
Hey,
10
20
minutes,
minutes.
it would not work.
No, you wouldn't be able to do.
It's pretty
We
good.
have an announcement.
Boy.
Okay, go. Okay, say it again.
1 hour, 16 minutes.
All right.
Okay,
Second.
thank you very much.
I still want wider channels, and I want hexagonal tiles, and the time it takes to place them by hand, that shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, it's like
Oh, that's not going to be a big deal.
so minor.
I like the idea of them being glass. Somehow or another, it just seems like
Glass on glass
make,
seems
yeah,
like
glass on glass
glass.
makes
Well, you
some
can.
intuitive. Maybe not for
Okay,
a
no,
hogging tool, but for a
That
polishing
wasn't probably very good there, but maybe it's still a little premature to be doing this. Try not to put any pressure on the edges of the...
You may hold the other
Yeah,
end of it or
I thought
something?
you would have set it down and
Yeah, I
done
would
it
have
flat.
thought he would have done that.
You may
too.
hold it flat? I'll hold it flat in the middle.
Well,
I don't mind getting messy.
that's the thing, is it...
You want the grit to fall
We
away
could go
from
up and do this in the hot tub, but there's not enough room for all of us.
Well, we've had as big.
So now Ken is kind of cleaning off the tiles before the
Really well, which is it.
dental base dries up too much, so he can get it off between the edges of the tiles.
Pyrex or curb generator.
That's going to be his tool.
And you get your convex tool.
That side will be the
and then you wanna
tool
make more mirrors
that actually
using that for a
figures the mirror.
tool, but you just epoxy.
You don't need to. They're going to round off as soon as you start grinding.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they will.
That's true.
They're going to round off in rapid order.
Yeah, it could be done. Did you say you were going to test the other piece and see if it?
For the
So if
porosity of it.
If
Well,
these start to
it's
fall out,
kind of
then-
interesting that these things had some sort of backing
Yeah.
on it, but I don't know what it is. But
They're glued down really well to this backing.
Oh, okay.
And that's where they get their color.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
glass is all the same.
Oh,
green
really?
stuff. Yeah. If you look from the
You're
edge,
saying that the
Yeah.
color
Right.
we see is the backing.
is the
of
backing.
Yeah.
If you looked at
Okay.
those from the edge, they're all the same green glass color.
Yeah.
It's this
Wow, I hadn't
print that they
realized
have
that.
on it.
So
I
that it
think
might
they
just be a
actually
piece of
stay on
paper
there
that's
pretty
there.
well.
Yeah.
And that may
Just printed.
delaminate.
I guess so.
You're going to be
Boy,
the
that's
test.
that's a cheap way to be.
I'll let you know.
I'll have to report
Give all
back.
kinds of patterns.
They start coming up.
But right now it's at a point where
We'll see
you
your
know the
future
brush
with
isn't going to take a whole lot more off. It's still a little bit kind of soft.
Red glass is very expensive,
Yeah.
so I've noticed that if I've ever seen a red bottle, I thought, oh, I could get that because they always have a thin layer plastic jacket on the outside of it. It's not red glass. It's clear.
So we're back inside with Dale. He's going to show us a little instrument called a spherometer.
Yes, this is a tool that allows you to judge the curve of a mirror that's being worked or being ground, and you can tell what the curve is. There's a variety of ways to check that, but this is a real quick tool to just make a quick judge of. And you see, you've got these 3 points right here, and this bottom point moves in and out as you turn the knob on top. So you put it on the surface, and you turn it around, and see it stops right there. So that's the 0 point right there, because this surface here is flat. But on the other side of it, which is actually going to become the mirror, it's curved. It's curved like this, so it's down in the middle, high on the ends. So you take the same tool, lay it there, and you spin it around and see where it stops. And let's see again. Okay, stops right at about 43, and that's the focal length. That's the focal ratio of the mirror. And as you work it, you can say, well, I didn't want 43, I actually wanted 51. Well, then you can work it to that particular number. There's other ways to do it, but this one is the quickest way that I have seen. So.
That's great. That's a great tool. And what's it called again?
Spherometer.
A spherometer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dale.